The sun was setting. When the door opened, the driver in the driver's seat got off in a hurry. The driver walked to the door of the passenger seat and opened the door. Then he respectfully reached out to block the door frame and waited for Shang Jiyu to get out of the car. A slender and straight leg stretched out. In an instant, Shang Jiyu stood at the gate of the fallen bar with his head held high. Lin Fan, when did you have such poor taste? Why are you bringing me to such a shabby place? Shang Jiyu's voice was pleasant but full of aggressiveness. However, there seemed to be a strong dissatisfaction in her voice, and she seemed to be suppressing something. If it wasn't for Lin Fan, he would definitely be punished. He had always disdained to come to a place like this. Although Lin Fan already knew Shang Jiyu's temper very well. But after hearing the anger in his tone, he couldn't help shivering. In fact, it was not him who asked the young master to come here. It was old grandma who arranged it. Old grandma said that Miss Oting was here, so he brought her here. Of course, old grandma also said that if he didn't bring Shang Jiyu here, he wouldn't be able to do his job. Mr. Shang, it's very interesting here. I even made an appointment with Jiang Lingyun for you. I guess he's already here. Lin Fan knew that as long as Jiang Lingyun was moved out, there might still be hope. He's here too. There was an obvious trace of disbelief in Shang Jiyu's eyes. When did that guy's taste become so low that he came to such a small bar? After thinking for a few seconds, Shang Jiyu still took vigorous steps and went straight to the fall bar. Lin Fan wiped his sweat from his back. Oh my god, I hope you can bless Jiang Lingyun inside. Then, he quickly caught up with Shang Jiyu. Ting held a glass of wine in her right hand and a microphone in her left. She shouted wildly and drank. Her heart hurt. Shang Jiyu, whom she had loved since she was a child, did not love her at all. As she sang, she walked in circles. Her little face was slightly flushed because she was drinking. Many men in the bar were looking at her, and they were all thinking about how to cheat her. At the end of her shout, she really had no strength left. She picked up the wine in her hand and drank it all. With a swoosh, she threw the glass at the door a few meters away. As soon as Shang Jiyu arrived at the door, before he could steady his feet, an unknown flying object suddenly flew over. He was stunned. Then he turned around and held the glass tightly in his hand. To one side, Lin Fan was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. When he looked in the direction of the glass, he found that Ting was also staring at him with her eyes wide open. Perhaps she had never expected that Shang Jiyu would come here. Ting thought that she was seeing things. She stretched out her little hand and deliberately rubbed her eyes. Suddenly, she was shocked. It was really Shang Jiyu. She was a little panicked. Looking at her embarrassed appearance, she would dislike her even more when she saw her like this. Where is Jiang Lingyun? Shang Jiyu did not pay attention to the crazy Ting, but directly asked Lin Fan next to him. His eyes were full of coldness, and the noise around him was quiet because of his momentum. Shang Jiyu glanced around and turned to walk out. He acted as if he hadn't noticed Ting, but his eyes were a little complicated. Zhao Yaqing took Jiao Ling's and Zhao Yinyang's small hands, and Zhang Weiyun walked in front of them. It wasn't until she was at the entrance of the fall bar that she stopped for a moment. It's good to fall into this bar. There's not only food in it, but also fun. I'll let you treat me today. Zhang Weiyun chuckled. Seeing Zhao Muqing subconsciously clenching her purse, Zhang Meiyun smiled even more brightly. She said that on purpose. She had a membership card here. Wow, that's great. We can finally have fun today. We can break the money and eliminate the disaster, Zhao Ling said with a smile. She knew that it was not easy for her mother to take her and her brother to have fun. It was also a good thing. Zhao Yuqing clenched the purse in her hand, gritted her teeth, and made up her mind. She pulled the two children and rushed in. Wasn't it just for fun? If he made money, he would have to spend it. Looking at Zhao Yaqing's back, Zhang Weiyun couldn't help but be stunned. Why was she so crazy? Wasn't it just going to a bar? She didn't have to be so excited. Hadn't she been to a bar before? Zhao Yaqing took the two children and rushed in. She didn't notice that Shang Jiyu, who was walking toward her, had fallen to the ground. Shang Jiyu's eyes darkened a little, and he rubbed his Qing Yang acupoint. He really should take a look at the calendar today. It shouldn't be suitable for him to go out. Lin Fan, who was standing by the side, was shocked. His forehead was almost sweating. How could Mr. Sheng be so unlucky today? He was destined to be bumped into. He was able to avoid the wine glass, but he was unable to avoid others. At the same time, O Ting also came over and saw Zhao Yaqing, who bumped into Sheng Jiyu's arms. She almost had an impulse to kill Zhao Yaqing. Is it this woman again? Sheng Jiyu lowered his head and looked at the softness in his arms. Instantly, his face changed. It was her again. What he didn't want to see was the first woman who dared to slap him. And why did she hold 2 children in her hands? She already had 2 children. At this time, Zhao Yaqing also raised her head. After looking into Sheng Jiyu's eyes, she subconsciously wanted to jump away from him. However, at this moment, Sheng Jiyu suddenly held her head and held her in his arms. I didn't expect that you would throw yourself into my arms in such a short time. Do you want to welcome me or not? Looking at Zhao Yaqing, who was struggling, Sheng Jiyu raised his eyebrows and said to her. His voice was very soft, but it could be heard by her ears. Zhao Yaqing was stunned. It was obvious that he was holding her down, but why was he throwing himself into her arms? Why did he like to humiliate her so much? Let go of my mommy. How dare you kidnap my mommy? Zhao Ling suddenly lowered her head and bit Sheng Jiyu's leg. Since she dared to sneak attack her mother, she didn't ask Zhao Ling if she agreed. Sheng Jiyu only felt a pain in his leg and pushed Zhao Yaqing away. Sure enough, they were a pair of mother and daughter. They slapped him in the face and bit his leg. Good, very good. Sheng Jiyu curled his lips and sneered. Lin Fan, take Zhao Yaqing to my car. Don't take an oil bottle with you. As soon as he finished speaking, he walked out proudly, leaving a noble back for everyone. Zhao Ling did not respond for a moment. When she reacted, she shouted at Sheng Jiyu's back. Who's the little pepperer? How dare he say that he was using an oil bottle on her? Humph, she was the first to oppose him if he wanted to pursue her mother. Unexpectedly, a sentence suddenly floated in from the outside. The one who spoke just now has admitted that he is a little scapegoat. Humph, if I want to fight with him, even my mother is no match for him, let alone a child who is wet behind the ears. Zhao Ling still wanted to chase after them, but she was held back by Zhao Yenyang, who was standing beside her. Zhao Yenyang's brows were tightly knitted together. That man just now was such a top-grade one. But why did he always feel that the man looked like him? At this time, Zhang Meiyun also came in. She had already met Sheng Jiyu outside. Moreover, he also warned her not to meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, he would tell Zhang Lingyun that she had come to such a place. Because Zhang Lingyun cared about her so much that he didn't let her come here privately. Zhang Meiyun finally reached a consensus with Sheng Jiyu. She didn't care about anything, and he didn't tell her brother what had happened today. How could she be so unlucky to meet such a man when she went out, and he was her brother's good friend? Secretary Jiao, I'm sorry. Before everyone could react, Zhao Yuqing was dragged out by Lin Fan. He moved so fast that Zhao Tianyang and Zhao Ling didn't have time to chase him. Zhao Yaqing was thrown into the car and left. Mommy. Zhao Ling shouted at the limited edition Lamborghini, and her big watery eyes suddenly flashed with tears. Looking at the 2 children in front of her, O Ting was really shocked. The 2 children looked exactly like Sheng Jiyu. But from what he did just now, it seemed that Sheng Jiyu didn't know these 2 children. There was a flash of light in O Ting's eyes. She started with these 2 children. Wow, this sister's eyes are terrible. Do you usually look at people like this? I don't think anyone likes her. Zhao Ling suddenly felt a sharp gaze staring at her and couldn't help asking. When Zhang Weiyun saw that it was O Ting, her heart tightened. The daughter of the O group was a woman who wanted to marry Sheng Jiyu. However, Zhang Meiyun hated O Ting's arrogance very much. She is jealous of Xiao Ling. Let's go back quickly. Your mommy has been sent home by that uncle. Zhang Weiyun said as she took the 2 children away with a smile. However, in her heart, she had been struggling about what had happened to Zhao Yaqing. Should I tell my brother about Zhao Yaqing? After struggling for a while, she decided not to tell her brother. Since Zhao Yaqing had offended Sheng Jiyu, she had to pray for herself. Auntie Yun, who is that top-grade uncle? Zhao Yenyang suddenly asked. He always felt that this excellent man looked like him. Maybe he could find his father. Zhang Weiyun looked at Zhao Yunyang. Why did he suddenly ask Sheng Jiyu? Did he want to take revenge on Sheng Jiyu? The top-grade uncle you mentioned has a great background. You'd better hide as far away as possible when you see him in the future. It's best not to see him. Zhang Weiyun told him her views on Sheng Jiyu. Usually, when she saw Sheng Jiyu, she would hide. That man was even scarier than her brother. Zhao Yenyang nodded thoughtfully, but he was thinking about seeing Sheng Jiyu again. Zhao Yaqing was thrown into the car, and her ass was hit again. I'm so unlucky. Is it because I didn't spend my money today, so I'm going to suffer now? Mr. Shang, it's time to get off work. Could you please take me away by force? Is it counted as a punishment? Zhao Yaqing suddenly asked. If he counted the time for her to pay the bill, she would give him a good face. If it wasn't for the time being, there was no need for her to worship him. Sheng Jiyu looked at Zhao Yaqing, who was leaning against him. Because the clothes on her chest were slightly loose, she showed an attractive scenery. Sheng Jiyu sucked in a breath of cold air. This woman's posture was a blatant seduction. Zhao Yaqing seemed to have noticed Sheng Jiyu's gaze and followed his gaze. Shocked, she suddenly sat up straight. Oh. A heart-wrenching pain suddenly came from her butt, which made her face instantly pale. Even so, she didn't make a sound. Sheng Jiyu looked at Zhao Yaqing's expression and subconsciously looked at her ass. All of a sudden, he remembered that when he threw her out of the car, she seemed to be squatting on the ground. Did I fall on my butt? Zhao Yaqing glared at Sheng Jiyu and quickly covered her ass with her little hands, as if she didn't want him to see it. Tell me, did you pay for it? She asked again, and there seemed to be a hint of stubbornness on her little face. Sheng Jiyu was speechless, and the pity he had for Zhao Yuqing disappeared in an instant. Could this woman not raise money? Was she really that short of money? Yes. Sheng Jiyu replied coldly. Zhao Yaqing was overjoyed, as if she had forgotten the pain in her ass at that moment. But your daughter bit my leg just now, and it's all over. Sheng Jiyu's tone was still cold. Before Zhao Yaqing had time to be surprised, she was eliminated by Sheng Jiyu's words on the spot. Wasn't it just her daughter who had bitten him? There was no need to be so stingy. Besides, it was not painful for a child to bite him. The more she thought about it, the more wronged she felt. She gritted her teeth and stretched out her slender and white arm in front of Sheng Jiyu. Sheng Jiyu was stunned. What kind of tricks does this woman want to play? Why don't you bite me? It's just a bite. But you have to pay for it. Zhao Yaqing's last sentence completely angered Sheng Jiyu. He had seen people who loved money, but he had never seen someone who loved money as much as she did. Even Lin Fan, who was driving, couldn't help looking at Zhao Yuqing in the rearview mirror. This woman was really excellent. She always had a way to make Sheng Jiyu angry. Lin Fan, you can go down now. Sheng Jiyu suddenly said. She wanted money, didn't she? Then she had to show him whether she was valuable or not. The corners of Sheng Jiyu's mouth curled into an evil smile. Lin Fan stopped the car and got out immediately. Zhao Yuqing also opened the door and wanted to get out. But Sheng Jiyu didn't give her a chance. He grabbed Zhao Yuqing and locked the door. He suddenly pounced on her, and the seat in the car immediately became a bed. Zhao Yuqing was shocked. What does this man want to do? Her ass was already hurting. If he pressed down on her again, would he want her ass to bloom? All of a sudden, the scent of lemon wafted into Zhao Yuqing's nose. For a moment, she was in a trance. In a trance, she remembered the night when she was with a stranger 6 years ago. The strange man was also wearing a kind of faint lemon fragrance. It was very cool and pleasant to smell. The next moment, Zhao Yaqing's small hand pressed against Sheng Jiyu's chest. When she touched his strong muscles, her face blushed. Mr. Shang, you're very heavy. Can you get up and talk to me first? This time, you'll have to pay for it. Shut up. Sheng Jiyu roared angrily. This woman was still talking about the overseas payment. He had to punish this little woman. His sexy thin lips suddenly approached her. Sheng Jiyu couldn't help but think of the kiss he had had this morning. Her lips were so soft, and her taste was so good. When she took it again, it was the slap she gave him. As soon as he thought of the slap, Shang Jiyu's eyes became a little colder, and his thin lips were instantly kissed. Zhao Yuqing was shocked and immediately covered her mouth with her little hand. This man wants to sneak attack me again. And he took advantage of me this morning? Shang Jiyu obviously did not expect her to do such a thing. There was indescribable anger on his face. Very well, there was a woman who had rejected his kiss. But she knew that no one could stop what he wanted to do. Shang Jiyu forcefully pulled Zhao Yaqing's little hand away and held her two small hands with one of his big palms. His thin lips quickly kissed her. They were as soft as ever, even better than he had imagined. His kiss was wild and overbearing. His strong possessiveness shocked Zhao Yuqing's heart. His big palm also became restless and wandered on Zhao Yuqing's back. She wanted to resist, but her hands were pressed down by him. Zhao Yaqing's eyes were full of horror. How could this man kiss me like this? Feeling that he was groping on her back, her heart panicked at this moment and her whole body tensed up. Well? Zhao Yuqing twisted her body uneasily, and her mind was blank. The more Zhao Yuqing struggled, the more violent his kiss became. She didn't seem to know that she had successfully aroused Shang Jiyu's possessiveness. Zhao Yaqing was so shocked that she almost forgot to react. She kept replaying the night 6 years ago in her mind. That night, for the sake of money, she sold her innocence. Zhao Yaqing was shocked, and her subconscious resistance became more intense. No, she couldn't lose her virginity again no matter what. It was a shame as a witness. From that night on, she swore that she would never sell her self-esteem and herself a second time for money. Shang Jiyu seemed to have no intention of stopping. His kiss went all the way down with a wild taste. The place where they kissed had all been left with a shocking purple and red color. Her taste was so good that he would unconsciously think of the smell of a woman who gave birth to a child for him 6 years ago. In the darkness, he had asked for her countless times. Zhao Yuqing was still struggling. She suddenly raised her head and bit Shang Jiyu's arm. She refused to let go until the moment when Shang Jiyu let go of her. Do you want to die? Looking at the row of neat teeth marks on his arm, Shang Jiyu was furious. Her daughter bit his leg, and she bit his arm. What did they think of him? He was so delicious. Seeing that Shang Jiyu had gotten up, Zhao Yaqing immediately stepped back warily all the way to the door. But the door was locked, so she couldn't open it. What Zhao Yuqing was worried about now was that Shang Jiyu would pounce on her again. I'm not courting death. I don't want to die. Zhao Yuqing raised her head and answered Shang Jiyu's question. But looking at her, it was obvious that she was still in a state of shock. She was on guard against Shang Jiyu. She was even considering whether she should go back to work at Shang Enterprises. Anyway, it had only been a day, and he had already spent 50,000 yuan. This man was too scary. She didn't want to stay with such a dangerous man. Shang Jiyu stared at Zhao Yaqing coldly. She was already the mother of 2 children. Why was she still pretending to be noble? Was she doing this for her man's sake? A woman who loved money like her should marry a rich man. How could she love money so much? When you entered the company, you signed the contract. If you don't want to go to work, you have to compensate for the loss of the company, 1 million yuan. As soon as he finished speaking, Shang Jiyu had already sat in the driver's seat. As soon as he stepped on the gas pedal, the car instantly rushed up like an arrow with a broken string. Zhao Yaqing's eyes widened in shock as she looked at Shang Jiyu. She couldn't wait to open her eyes wide. Wow, 1 million yuan. She clearly saw that the penalty on the contract was 100,000 yuan. Was that how he earned money? He earned money. The corners of Shang Jiyu's mouth curled evilly. He would not let her leave so easily. He would keep her by his side and then slowly humiliate her. Shang Jiyu looked at her expression. She couldn't afford to pay 1 million yuan. At this moment, Shang Jiyu's cell phone suddenly rang. She opened it and saw that it was a call from her son. Shang Jiyu frowned slightly. In his impression, Shang Zihao had never taken the initiative to call him. Did something happen to him on the phone? Dad. As soon as he picked up the phone, a pleasant child's voice came from the other side. Yes. Sheng Jiu answered indifferently, knowing that his son still had something to say. Sheng Zihao was silent for a while, as if he was thinking about what to say. For the first time, he had some concerns when he faced Sheng Jiu. Dad, will that pretty sister come to our house? I really want to have a family education and ask her to be my tutor, okay? Sheng Zihao said a lot. But in the end, there was only one purpose, which was to let Zhao Yuqing accompany him. Sheng Jiu was slightly stunned. His son had said so much again? What's more, is it for Zhao Yuqing? He was still calling her beautiful sister. Did he really fall in love with Zhao Yuqing? Sheng Jiu's brows were tightly knitted together. It should be noted that Zhao Yuqing's child was as old as his. Do you still need to be educated? You always get the first place in the exam, don't you? Sheng Jiu said coldly. There was no emotion in his tone. His intuition told him that Sheng Zihao just wanted to get close to Zhao Muqing. The expectation in Sheng Zihao's eyes dimmed. The reason why he had been working hard to get the first place was that he wanted Sheng Jiu to look at him a little more. However, when he ran to Sheng Jiu with the award list, he didn't even look at it and told him not to be proud. Now, he couldn't bear to fall in love with this beautiful sister, but he still refused her so ruthlessly. Why are you so strict with the children? Zhao Muqing thought of Sheng Zihao, whom she had met today, and then looked at the man in front of her. The child must be his son. Sheng Jiu raised his eyebrows slightly. He didn't expect that this woman would have such a big reaction to a child. Suddenly, as if he had thought of something, Sheng Jiu's mouth curved into a smile. My son wants you to be his tutor. While speaking, Sheng Jiu threw his mobile phone to Zhao Yuqing. He drove straight into his villa. It was good to let her be a tutor. She wanted to see how he would humiliate her. Zhao Yuqing didn't hear what the phone was saying just now. But when she heard what Sheng Jiu said, she couldn't help but be surprised. She didn't even graduate from college. How could she teach his son? Although she really wanted to earn more money. Although she was surprised, she still took the phone. Pretty sister. Sheng Zihao clearly heard what was happening on the other side of the phone. Therefore, he was very sure that it was Zhao Yuqing who took the phone. He couldn't help feeling a little happy. Zhao Muqing smiled awkwardly. Why did this child always call her beautiful sister? It made her feel uncomfortable. Kid, my name is Zhao Yuqing. You can call me Aunt Qing in the future. Zhao Yuqing said gently. Calling her sister? What a joke. If that was the case, she would have to call him father and uncle. However, Zhao Yuqing still liked children very much. Sometimes, she wondered how his other son would be doing without a mother. If there was a stepmother, wouldn't it be even more painful? At that time, she hadn't even hugged the child. Aunt Qing, my name is Sheng Zihao. Thank you for agreeing to be my tutor, Sheng Zihao said with a bright face, full of excitement. 3 black lines immediately appeared on Zhao Yuqing's head. When did she agree to be his tutor? Why didn't she know? Sheng Jiu listened to their conversation while driving. He sighed in his heart at his son's shrewdness, and the corners of his mouth could not help but curl up into a beautiful smile. Just now. Did Auntie Qing forget? You didn't refuse Dad just now. Didn't you agree? Sheng Zihao explained. He remembered that he had heard it clearly just now. My son wanted you to be his tutor, this was what his father said, and Zhao Yuqing did not refuse. Zhao Yuqing was stunned. It seemed that Sheng Jiu had really said such a thing. She didn't respond to him, but she didn't refuse him or promise him. Sheng Jiu's smile deepened. He was indeed his son. It seems that my little brain can scheme against people now. It seems that I will be better than them in the future. At this time, Zhao Yuqing looked at Sheng Jiu. When she saw the smile on the corner of his mouth, she suddenly felt that she had been tricked. However, she couldn't find a reason to be framed. They were indeed father and son, as cunning as they were. Then I'll take a look first. I don't know if I'm qualified to teach, and I have to talk about salary with your father. Before Zhao Yuqing could finish her words, Sheng Jiu suddenly grabbed her phone and hung up the phone. Could this woman not be so humiliated? It seemed that she had never left the money in her words. Could it be that she was so poor in her last life that she loved money so much in this life? 50,000. Shang Jiyu said without hesitation. 50,000 was a high salary for her. Moreover, it was a part-time job. In his company, she still had 30,000 yuan a month. Hearing the money, Zhao Yuqing immediately beamed with joy. 50,000 yuan. It seemed that she had to strive for this family education. In addition to the company's salary, her monthly salary was 80,000 yuan. If there was any extra reward, would her monthly income be more than 100,000? That's great. There's hope for me to save my father from prison this time. Looking at Zhao Yuqing's expression, Shang Jiyu couldn't help but frown again. Why did she love money so much? As long as money was mentioned, she would laugh. Mr. Shang, if you need anything in the future, just call me. Just give me more bonus, Zhao Yuqing said. She found that as long as she followed Shang Jiyu, she could make a lot of money. He was her god of wealth. Shang Jiyu's face became more and more gloomy. This woman loves money too much. Maybe one day, he would sell him for money. Staying with him would definitely be a disaster. Love and wealth can only be divided into 3 parts, but you take 90%. You are absolutely unreliable. I suddenly wonder if you will betray me because of something. For example, other companies will give you money and let you take out my company's information, Shang Jiyu said. It was very likely for this woman, who loved money, to do such a thing. Zhao Muqing was stunned for a moment. This man was either humiliating her or doubting her. Did she behave so badly? How could she do such a thing? Even if she wanted to do it, she had to do it openly. It was not her style to be sneaky. Because the things we face are different, the degree of love for money is different. Money cannot determine a person's nature. Of course, if Mr. Shang doesn't trust me, he can fire me at any time, but the penalty is 1 million yuan. Zhao Yuqing finally said solemnly. She had clearly heard what Shang Jiyu had said just now, that he would pay 1 million yuan as a penalty. Shang Jiyu suddenly looked at Zhao Yuqing. Although this woman loved money, she was quick-witted. In such a short time, he could turn the passive position into the active one. She should be a very good pawn. Since she loved money so much, he would give it to her, but she had to listen to him. Don't worry, stay with me. I won't fire you. Shang Jiyu seemed to be very merciful. Yes, he would not dismiss her. She was a very useful pawn. Zhao Yuqing didn't say anything, but her expression became calm. It could be seen whether she was happy or sad. She looked out of the window quietly. She had only signed a year's worth of contract. A year later, if she didn't want to be here, she could leave at any time. She was not worried about that at all. She was worried about her father. When she was resting on Sunday, she might as well go to the prison to visit her father. Since her mother was gone, her grandmother would probably not come to see her father. He had been in prison alone for such a long time. He should be very lonely, very lonely. At the gate of the villa, Shang Zihao waited quietly. After hanging up the phone, he ran out, and the housekeeper and nanny had to follow him. Until the limited edition car stopped in front of Shang Zihao. Shang Jiyu stared at his son in front of him for a long time. In his impression, his son had never waited for him. She seemed to have waited when she was a child. After being taught a lesson, she did not wait anymore. But today, he appeared at the door again. He couldn't help looking at Zhao Yuqing. Was it because of her? After opening the door and getting out of the car, Zhao Yuqing also got out of the car. Shang Zihao glanced at Shang Jiyu and ran straight to Zhao Yuqing. He remembered that his father once said that it was just a waste of time for him to wait here. He was also severely taught a lesson. So he was waiting for Zhao Yuqing today, not him. Aunt Qing. Shang Zihao ran to Zhao Yuqing and greeted her politely. Although he was still calm on his little face, Zhao Yuqing could clearly feel the happiness in his tone. Zhao Yuqing smiled and rubbed Shang Zijia's little head. Looking at his delicate little face, she really wanted to kiss him. But she didn't have the courage. He and her son looked a little alike. Shang Jiyu frowned tightly on the side. His son was so obedient that he let this woman touch his head. Was there something wrong with Shang Zihao? Where was his coldness? Where was his momentum? Why was everything gone in front of this woman? What do you want to do as a tutor? Zhao Yaqing couldn't help asking as she walked into the villa with Shang Zihao holding her hand. Shang Zihao didn't really think about it. He just liked Zhao Muqing, so he asked her to come. As for whether she should be taught or not, he didn't care. Shang Ziyu's eyes turned cold. This stinky boy took Zhao Yuqing away like this, as if he didn't exist as a father. He had been ignored by his son. Go to bed with me. Shang Zihao suddenly said after thinking for a while. His little face had been raised to look at Zhao Yaqing, and his eyes were full of expectation. Zhao Yaqing was obviously stunned and did not digest Shang Zihao's words for a while. She couldn't help but turn to look at Shang Ziyu. There seemed to be a blush on his beautiful and refined face. Shang Ziyu almost spat it out behind him. Does this stinky boy really like this woman? He even asked me to sleep with him. How could he have such a bad idea? No, Shang Ziyu said overbearingly. What a joke. How could he allow this woman to tarnish his son? Shang Zihao curled his lips and didn't say anything else. He couldn't help feeling disappointed. He really wanted to taste the smell of his mother's milk. He really wanted to sleep at night. He wanted to have his mother accompany him and tell him stories, telling him that he was sleeping. Will Dad marry Auntie Qing in the future? He had never seen his father bring a woman to the villa, but now he brought Zhao Yuqing here. Did it mean that he would marry her? Did it mean that he had a mother? Zhao Yaqing and Shang Ziyu suddenly looked at each other and then looked at Shang Zihao at the same time. No. The two of them said at the same time, and their tone was so firm. One was for money, and the other was for making use of money. How could such two people get married? At this moment, Shang Zihao was very disappointed. He thought that Shang Ziyu would marry Zhao Yaqing, but he didn't expect that he would refuse so directly. Shang Zihao lowered his long eyelashes. Here, he ate well and lived well, but he didn't feel love. His father often didn't come back, nor did he have a mother. All he had to do was accompany him alone, with an endless coldness. Aunt Qing, will you live here in the future? Shang Zihao asked calmly, hiding the disappointment in his heart. Zhao Yaqing didn't expect that Shang Zihao would suddenly ask such a question. How could she live here? She still had her two children. If she lived here, who would take care of her children? However, when she saw Shang Zihao's expectant eyes, she couldn't bear to refuse him. This child should be very lonely. He didn't have a mother, and his father didn't love him. He lacked love. Auntie, you can wait for Zihao to fall asleep every time before you leave, she said with a chuckle. He should be a child without a sense of security. Zhao Yuqing thought of how much she yearned for maternal love when her mother and father divorced. However, her mother had never come back. She could understand the loneliness of a child who lacked maternal love. In Zhao Yaqing's mind, she couldn't help but think of her other son who had been carried away. Her son should be about the same size as Shang Zihao. He didn't have a mother, so he must be very lonely. Really? Aunt Qing, you have to keep your word. Shang Zihao's deep eyes shone with a strange light. This proved that he was excited and happy at this time. Shang Ziyu frowned slightly. He had never known that his son could smile so happily. There was not a trace of a complicated expression on his delicate face. His smile was like a little angel, which seemed to make everything around him beautiful. Zhao Yuqing looked at Shang Zihao and was surprised to find that he also had a pair of canine teeth. It was exactly the same as Zhao Yinyang's little tiger teeth, and it was so similar to his smile. For a moment, Zhao Yuqing was immersed in Shang Zihao's smile. The moon's light shone through the window and filled the whole room, reflecting on Zhao Yuqing's body. She lay quietly beside Shang Zihao. Aunt Qing, I want to hear from Cinderella that she has a very bad stepmother. Fortunately, there is a bird to help her, Shang Zihao said softly. His little hand was still holding Zhao Yaqing's little hand tightly, as if he was afraid that she would leave him. Hearing Shang Zihao's words, Zhao Yuqing felt a lump in her throat. Was he afraid that Shang Ziyu would find a stepmother for him, and then he would suffer like Cinderella? How could such a young child bear such a heavy pressure? She couldn't help but hug Shang Zihao. Shang Zihao obviously did not expect that Zhao Yuqing would suddenly hug him. All of a sudden, a pleasant smell of lily came into his nose, and he took the opportunity to get into Zhao Yaqing's arms. It was not until Sheng Zihao fell asleep that Zhao Yuqing came out. She looked at the time. It was 10:30. The children should be worried about her. She had to go back as soon as possible. Sheng Jiyu had been working in the living room to sort out the documents. When he saw Zhao Yuqing coming out, his eyes became a little complicated. She was really good at pleasing children. How could she let her son listen to her so obediently? Goodbye, Mr. Sheng. Zhao Yuqing took her bag and left quickly. It was 10:30. She had to get on the bus as soon as possible, or there would be no more cars. After a while, he would have to go back. He didn't know if he could make it in time. Shang Jiyu stared at Zhao Yuqing and said nothing. He thought that she would say that it was very late today. Could she stay here for one night? If she said that, he would agree, but she left without hesitation. Shang Jiyu was driving. When he caught up with Zhao Yuqing, she had already gotten on the bus. Originally, he wanted to go back, but he was a little worried. He thought about it and decided to follow her. After all, his son liked her so much. After walking for 8 or 9 feet, Zhao Yuqing got out of the car. She wanted to go back to another bus. Looking at the time, she took a deep breath. Fortunately, there were still 5 minutes left for the last bus. It was just in time. Zhao Yuqing took out her mobile phone and was ready to call the children. When he turned it on, his phone was turned off. No wonder she didn't receive any calls from the children at such a late hour. Zhao Yuqing immediately took out another battery from her pocket. However, at this moment, a man suddenly covered her mouth from behind. The other man also cooperated to drag Zhao Yuqing away. I really didn't expect this woman to be so stunning. Who among us goes first? A man with a fierce face said with a lewd smile. They didn't expect that what Oting asked them to deal with this time was a good woman. It must be delicious. The other man, who was as thin as a bamboo pole, had a cold look on his face. We just need to do things for others. It's enough to rape this woman. Let's go together. The man with the bamboo pole had begun to take off his clothes as he spoke. Meanwhile, the fierce-looking man began to rip off Zhao Yuqing's clothes and tear apart her coat. Seeing Zhao Yuqing's jade-white skin, he gasped. This woman was indeed a stunner. Little sister, I'll give you a good time later. While talking, the fierce-looking man touched Zhao Yuqing's soft little face. Zhao Yuqing was shocked and felt disgusted. What a disgusting man. She suddenly spat on the face of the man who had just touched her face with a fierce look. The man was so angry that he raised his hand and slapped her in the face. B*TCH, it's your blessing that I F*CKU. The fierce-faced man scolded. The bamboo pole man had put away the video, and the video was Oting's ultimate goal. Zhao Yuqing's little hand was pinched, and her feet kept kicking. The bamboo pole man pressed her feet, and his whole body was arranged into a big shape. Zhao Yuqing was both ashamed and angry. She had never been humiliated like this before. But no matter how hard she tried to resist, her body was pressed tightly. At this moment, the fierce-looking man suddenly put something in her mouth. I'll make you feel like you're floating in the air. Zhao Yuqing suddenly felt hot and dry in her heart. And it was getting hotter and hotter. A strong sense of uneasiness rose in her heart. My man is Sheng Jiyu. Aren't you afraid of suffering? Zhao Yuqing shouted. She could only mention Sheng Jiyu, and she didn't say that she was his boyfriend. She just called him a man. Sheng Jiyu, who was about to take action, was stunned when he heard what Zhao Yuqing said. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up. She remembered mentioning him when she was in trouble. However, the fierce-looking man didn't seem to care at all. He had already reached out his hand to touch Zhao Yuqing, and couldn't help looking at the camera. If Sheng Jiyu knew that you did such a thing, would he still want you? Zhao Yuqing only felt that her whole body was trembling. She swore that if there was a chance in the future, she would definitely break this man's right hand. Sheng Jiyu's eyes suddenly darkened, and he suddenly flashed out. Before the fierce-looking man could react, he had already kicked him away. Moreover, it just happened to mention the lower half of his body. That kick was full of strength, and he might not be able to lift it for the rest of his life. Taking a look at the situation in front of him, the bamboo pole immediately made its move. However, he was still a step too slow. Shang Jiyu had already stepped forward and punched the man's chest. The man didn't want to show weakness and resist, but after a few rounds, he couldn't get up from the ground. Shang Jiyu took off his coat and put it on Zhao Yaqing's body. Then, he carried her and strode away. Just like that, Zhao Yaqing quietly leaned into Shang Jiyu's arms. Smelling the smell of lemon on his body, for the first time, she felt so safe in his arms. Hearing his strong heartbeat, Zhao Yaqing's heart was burning again. No wonder others would say that a man's embrace was a woman's harbor. It turned out that it was so warm in his broad arms. Shang Jiyu seemed to feel the heat on Zhao Yaqing's body. He looked down at her face, which was abnormally red. Damn it, she had traditional Chinese medicine. Shang Jiyu carried Zhao Yaqing into the car and ran into the villa. Zhao Yaqing quietly leaned in the car, and the coat she was wearing had long fallen off. But she didn't have the strength to hide anything at this time. She only felt that her whole body was hot, full of emptiness. Zhao Yaqing's mouth was dry, and she couldn't help licking her dry tongue. She was going to take a shower, and she was going to use cold water to wash her body. If it went on like this, she would not be able to stand it. Shang Jiyu was driving, but he still couldn't help glancing at Zhao Yaqing. What he saw made him almost spit out blood. It was such a seductive scene. She leaned against the seat and his coat slipped into the car. Her eyes, which were full of confusion, were looking at him. Her tempting red lips, coupled with her licking actions, made her even more attractive. Those messy clothes couldn't cover her snow-white skin at all. Shang Jiyu took a deep breath, and his whole body's blood rushed down in an instant. He suddenly stepped on the brakes. Zhao Yaqing didn't pay attention. Her body, which was originally tilted, suddenly fell toward Shang Jiyu. Her head just fell on his thigh, and her body, which had already reacted, instantly boiled. Damn it, didn't this woman know that she was playing with fire? Why is it so hot? Zhao Yaqing murmured in a low voice. She rubbed her head and wanted to sit up straight. Zhao Yaqing put her small hand on Shang Jiyu's leg. She exerted a little strength to support her weak body. Shang Jiyu looked at Zhao Yaqing's small hand and took a deep breath. It took her a lot of effort to sit up straight. Before she could react, Shang Jiyu kissed her. His kiss was full of patience and wildness. Zhao Yaqing's small hand was pressed tightly against Shang Jiyu's chest. She seemed to be sober for a moment, but his cold kiss was so comfortable that she was reluctant to leave. Well? Zhao Yaqing couldn't help groaning. Her groan made Shang Jiyu's last line of defense collapse. His big palm moved on her tight skin, and his kiss went all the way down. At first, Zhao Yaqing struggled a few times, but she gradually became addicted to it. At this time, she had no idea what she was doing. She only knew that Shang Jiyu's touch made her feel very comfortable, so she couldn't help wanting more. The seat in the car had become a bed. Shang Jiyu suddenly pounced on her. Her smell was so beautiful that he was fascinated. Zhao Yaqing had completely fallen in love with him. She kissed Shang Jiyu shyly. Her kisses were messy. Except for that night 6 years ago, she had never touched a man, so her kisses were very clumsy. However, Shang Jiyu was in a good mood. She had been addicted to it at this time, but she could only kiss it casually. This proved that she had never been kissed. Her immatureness made him even crazier. "You're so beautiful." Shang Jiyu couldn't help but sigh. She was really beautiful, and her whole body was full of temptation, which made him unable to give up. Well? Zhao Yaqing's little face was flushed, and there was a slight smile on her face.